When we bought this house 4 years ago, this side of the house consisted mainly of overgrown crabgrass. So one of our first missions was to make this something that the neighbors would be happy to see and we wouldn't be ashamed of. So one of the first things we did was plant a lot of plants and flowers, and I went on a mission to plant a row of fruit trees. And this one right here is a nectarine tree that is just absolutely beautiful, and it's actually producing some fruit. You can see it there, and you can see that the sunflowers are starting to grow ginormous, particularly over this way, and they're starting to sprout. This is a cherry tree I planted that hasn't produced yet. This is a pear tree that I planted that is starting to produce a little bit of fruit, and you can see it right there. And the next tree is I have a mental block. A persimmon tree, I remembered it this time. And this one tends to produce a lot of fruit, but because it is so low to the ground, the dogs tend to get most of it. Over here is a peach tree that I planted this year. I planted another fruit tree a few years ago, and it grew so ginormous that we were afraid that its roots were going to affect our septic system, so I pulled it out and I put this in this year. This is a plum tree that I planted, and it had a ton of fruit early this spring, and the squirrels got every last damn bit of it. This is another nectarine tree that has not produced yet. I'll pan out a little bit so you can see it. And next to it is a peach tree that I planted a few years ago. And what was amazing was last year there was tons of fruit on it. And this year we found precisely one peach. That's all it has this year. And next to that is another plum tree, and that's one that's supposed to be a universal propagator. And this is an apple tree, and this is another apple tree. They produce a little bit of fruit, but not much yet. And then we're sort of at the back of the house where you can see we planted here. We put a compost bin in, and then looking back the other way, and you can see this sunflower that actually seeded itself from last year, and it is probably about 12 to 13 feet high right now. Last year the dogs were eating all of my tomatoes, so I took a couple of filing cabinets and I built planters out of them. And unfortunately this year the dogs didn't get them, but fungus did. So I had to rip out the tomato plants and go to the store and buy other ones, and I feel like I'm cheating because I prefer to grow them from seed. But as you can see, the basil plants are going crazy. This is another cherry tree that I planted, and it's not producing yet, but I don't know if it's going to be able to see it, but this plant here is just swarming with bees, and we have so many bees that actually next year I'm thinking about, on this back part of the property back there away from everybody, about putting something to for honeybees. But that's the quick overview of how we transformed this property in the 4 years we've been here.